Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Saturday morning practice. We'll be spending the next hour and a half together and what I call the bootcamp. And the idea is that we practice our mindfulness. We improve the health of our body and the mind, and so that we're ready for the craziness for another week. Now, today we're going to alternating back into what is commonly called Qigong. It's a very broad term, meaning different things to different people, but at least what they have in common is the practice of Qi. Gong means practice, and Qi means life energy. And even that is very controversial. Is it life energy, like the energy that we generate after we ate breakfast, or is it something else? Now, in our case, it is actually the energy that connects a mind and the body, and it's actually beyond what's within the body. It's our energy coupled with the energy in the universe. And the energy in the universe, from a scientific standpoint, is magnetic energy. It's magnetic energy. So we're talking about the energy that interconnects all the planets. Only those who have a molten core, not the one with a solid core. The moon has a solid core. It affects us in a way that it affects our gravitational field. It affects us in a way that it blocks the sun, but it doesn't affect us magnetically. So we're going to be working on that, thinking of body as a conduit for those both electricity and magnetism. So we're going to start by doing some massage, working from our fingertips all the way to our toes, working from the top of our head all the way down to the bottom of our feet. By doing different ways of massaging a body, whether it is acupressure, tapping, scraping, stretching, all that, it just improves the conduit through which the magnetic energy can travel. And that itself has a lot of health benefit. But ultimately, it prepares us for the exercise at the end that we call the Yi Jin Jing, an exercise that was passed down to us by Bodhidhama, a North Indian monk who traveled to China in the 3rd century or so, if I'm not mistaken. And he is commonly known as the originator of the Shaolin Temple martial art, but probably more famously, he's also known as the first patriarch of ultimately becoming the Zen meditation. Now, the purpose that he left behind this set of practice, the one that we're going to do at the end, which basically is a yogic practice, is that he felt that the monks that he's seen were actually very weak. They might be very strong in the mind, but the body doesn't carry. Especially when an abbot, the head of the temple, decided to go into seclusion, right? Now, the word abbot in Chinese actually meant square meter or square yard. Basically, it's the size of the room, probably in modern measurement, would be 9 feet by 9 feet, where he will be spending 3 years meditating, studying, contemplating, and so forth. Really no place to exercise, no possibility of getting help from outside because he's secluded. And so the exercise that we're going to do at the end, which we're going to be preparing for, essentially is a self-help technique. It's a technique that activates and promotes our self-healing power so that you can stay in the square meter room for 3 years and still maintain your health both physically and mentally. It's a very important exercise. Now we're going to start by doing some massage, starting with the fingertips. The fingertips and the toes and the top of the head and the ears are what we call the extremities. These are the places where energy travels out of the body. We call the yang, influenced by the sun. And then you eventually return from the universe that we call the yin, the absence of the sun. And the extremities are the exchange points. All right, let's get ready. Now, I want you to focus on your body first. It's very important that when we do this exercise, you don't just think of it as a physical exercise, but rather a holistic exercise with the W. It has to involve your body and your mind, and your Qi, which is the bridge between your body and your mind. So let's practice on paying attention to our body, anchoring our mind on our body. I want you to close your eye and imagine the spine in the back, in your back. Now I want you to anchor your mind at the very lower part of your spine. I want you to imagine walking up the spine towards the top of the head. But I want you to walk very slowly, one joint at a time. And as you walk towards the top of the head, I want you to stretch your spine as hard as you can. Stretch your spine as if you're hanging the spine on the ceiling. And when you get to the top of the head, I want you to lean back. As you lean back, you get a sense of lightness because you're removing the burden on your body. You're putting the weight of your upper torso on your spine. You're relying less and less on the muscle in the back. Then I want you to relax. Relax as much as you can. Then I want you to anchor your mind on your shoulder. Lift up that shoulder all the way up, as far up as you can. Then I want you to open the shoulder as if you're squeezing a tennis ball in the back, all the way back. And then I want you to lower the shoulder, relax the upper torso. Now I want you to anchor your mind on your forehead. Lean back the forehead, putting the ears on top of the shoulder. Again, you feel the lightness because you're putting the weight of your head, which is about 20% of the total weight, on top of your spine, and you're relying less and less on the muscle in your back. Then I want you to focus on your chin and just kind of tuck in your chin slightly so that the top of the head, this energy point called the 100 meet, where all the yang energy comes together, is now on your central nerve system. This posture is what the Chinese call one pillar supporting the sky. The universe is boundless, so any point can be the center of the universe. You're now at the center of the universe, and your spine is a conduit between the energy between the earth and the heaven. The Chinese call that one pillar supporting the sky. Now I want you to focus on your hand. I want you to bring up your left hand. Examine your fingers. Then I want you to bring up your right hand. Focus on your thumb. I want you to take your right thumb and put it on the tip of each of the fingers on your left hand. I want you to massage the tip. Again, I want you to keep examining your mind, asking yourself if your mind is actually on your fingertips. If it's not, it's hiding in one or two places. It's hiding in the past or it's hiding in the future. So I want you to invite your mind back to the fingertips. And once your mind is in fingertips, I want you to focus on examining the change in your body, examining the change in your fingertips. Now that we're done with the fingertips, I want you to work on the joints. I want you to work on one finger at a time and one joint at a time. I want you to use the thumb and just kind of massage around your joints from the left to the center, back to the right. And once you finish with one joint, I want you to let it go, and then now focus on the next joint. And once you finish with one finger, I want you to let it go and now focus on the next finger. Whatever happens to you, whether it's something that affects your mind or your body, it's very transient. What's left is just a memory. And you need to understand the difference between reality and memory. And we're often very focused on the memory of our pain or the memory of a pleasure. Either way, and one of the practice that we do is to learn to accept with the pain or the pleasure and understand that there are times that they would appear and then the times that they would disappear. And you need to learn to enjoy them or endure them while they're there, while they're here, and then let go of the memory. Now we're done with the inside of a palm. So we're gonna flip it around and again, starting at the fingertips. And this time we're gonna use the thumb and the index finger, and we're gonna put that at the two corners of the fingernail, and we're gonna massage by squeezing it slightly. One finger at a time. Again, completely focus on the body, examining the change in your body. Now I want you to work on the joints again, this time from the back of your hand, one joint at a time, one finger at a time. Now we finished with the left hand, and now we come to the right hand. Again, one joint at a time, one finger at a time. Now I want you to come back in the palm of your hand, and this time I'm going to massage along the fingers, and just use the thumb and just going to massage along the length of the fingers, especially in between the joints. Now I want you to focus on the right hand, do the same thing on the right hand. I want you to flip it over and massage from the back of your hand, again, along the length of the fingers, especially between the joints. Same thing on the right hand. Those of you who are at my age or thereabout, one of the things that we cannot avoid is arthritis. Arthritis is a form of inflammation. And so one way that you can relieve the pain and slow down the inflammation is to do a lot of massage. And so massage actually is a very, very good practice. I do this all day long. Okay, I do this all day long. Now we're going to massage some of the important energy points in the back of the hand facing the sun. So when it's facing the sun, we call it yang. That's energetic. This is the time when you're outside the cave, back in the days when we live in the cave, and you're under danger. You're either being chased or you're chasing. And so your body enters into fight or flight. And it's a good time to heal your body because that's the time that you release stress hormone, particularly cortisol, which is a form of natural steroid. And so these part of the body that are facing the sun is the part that allows you to heal yourself. So I want you to open your fingers and just use the edge of your right thumb and just massage in between the fingers. And then come back. Now we're going to work on the thumb by itself later. Okay, so just focus on the 4 fingers right now. Now I want you to hold the fist and massage and use the edge of the thumb again and massage in between the knuckle. And then same thing on the other side. And then now I want you to massage the back of the hand. Now you can see that the fingers are individualized, and in between there's a channel. So just take your thumb and slide it through the channel. and then over here again. And then there's 3 energy points on the wrist facing the sun that are called the yang energy point. They're very important to release the yang energy. So when we say that you're yang deficient, your body's very cold, right? When you go to sleep, and when you go to sleep, then your feet are very cold, right? Or you're just very cold. The entire body's very cold. The other one is that you just don't feel like you have much strength, right? You can't quite walk up the stairs, right? And so these are the energy points can relieve the yang energy. Now the first one is very important. It's called the pan of yang. And so you take your hand and you focus on the middle fingers and the ring fingers, and you come down on this channel when you get to the top of the wrist, and you put your finger there and you just kind of move around, and all of a sudden you feel that dimple. So you put your thumb on top of that and you press down, doing acupressure now. And then just kind of move it around, doing some massage. Okay. All right. Now, same thing on the other side. Glide along the channel between the middle fingers and the ring fingers until you get to the top of the wrist, and just kind of move around until you find the dimple and push down, doing some acupressure. And then just kind of move around a little bit. Beth, can you see me now? Yes, I did tilt the camera so you can see the lower part. And okay, now there's 2 other energy points. Now this one happens to be the energy point that belongs to this energy line, this meridian called the triple warmer. And there are 2 other energy points. And sometimes you can work on them individually, and sometimes you can work on them together. And working together gives you an advantage that you can have a little bit more leverage. Now, first find the one that is along the thumb. So you take your fingers, you put it on the outside, right here, on the outside, and you kind of move around a little bit, and then all of a sudden there's a dimple. Now, you do the same thing on the back of the hand, along the little fingers, and again you move around, there's a dimple. Now one way is that you work on them individually. The other way is that you use your thumb and your index finger and you form like a claw and just kind of squeeze on that. And then same thing on the other side. Find the one along the thumb, find the one in the back on the wrist, right? And just kind of squeeze it, right? All right. Okay. So we work on the mainly on the fingers, from the inside and outside, from the tip to the wrist. Now we're going to come back to the thumb. The thumb we're going to work on separately. Now, recently I added another practice, which is on the index finger. Now, keep in mind that the back of the hand has 3 meridians. This is the one that is called the large intestine. And then inside is the one that's called the lung. Now, it's interesting that the Chinese would associate the lung with the large intestine, right? And you might say, well, they have nothing to do with it. The lung is to breathe, and the large intestine is to pass out your waste. Well, actually, they are kind of related. One is the input and one is the output. The lung is not just for breathing from the standpoint of the Qi practitioner. The lung is the energy. The lung is actually the mineral energy. It's not just that you breathe oxygen, but actually you take in all the nutrients. And so the lung is to distribute it into your body, right? Of course, it needs the help of the liver and the blood and all that, but ultimately the lung is the mineral element. Whereas once you take advantage of the nutrients, then you have to take out the toxin, and then you eventually pass it out. So it kind of makes sense that one side is the lung and the other side is the large intestine. There's a section of the large intestine meridian. Now, again, this is meridian, this is the energy line. The large intestine is somewhere else, but the energy travels through the body. And so if you kind of feel around the knuckle right here, right below the knuckle, there's an energy point. So you can do acupressure right here. And then what you do then is there's energy point all along, particularly at the corner of the nail. So you do a little massage here. Now, what you want to do now is you want to do a massage going from the inside to the outside, and just kind of do that. And I'll talk about why you want to do that in a minute. Okay. All right. Now you take the right hand. Again, you massage at the tip. And then you locate the knuckle and you massage right below the knuckle. There's an energy point here. And then you kind of glide, massage along the length from the inside to the outside. Okay, now this is the large intestine. This section, this way of massage is actually quite well known for relieving constipation. Okay, so three things, three bodily functions that are very important that you need to pay attention to, right? They're not unrelated. They're related. One is what you do at night. Two others is what you do during the day. So the things that you're supposed to do at night, you don't do well. That's called yin deficient. The things that you do during the day that you don't do well, that's called yang deficient. You need to pay attention to that, right? What is it that you do at night that you're supposed to do, but you don't do well? Insomnia. If you cannot sleep, that's a big problem. And ultimately it comes back from the qi, that you lost the harmony in your energy. What are the things that you do during the day that you cannot do well? Well, you're supposed to digest food, getting nutrients in your body to maintain your life. So if you have digestion problem, that's not a good thing. The other thing is constipation. Constipation is not a good thing, okay? And the last thing you wanted to do is just cure the symptom and by taking medicine, all right? Especially by taking medicine to just flush out the waste, and that's not what you want to do. And so you want to pay attention to that. And with artificial intelligence, it's very easy for you to go up and ask questions and say, what is it that I can do? Now, it's very interesting that some people say, oh, you just eat more vegetable, right? Eat more vegetables so help your digestion. Of course it does. Vegetable helps. A lot of people say, oh, you need to really eat the skin because it will help with your constipation. When you eat an apple, the skin is better. Eat the skin, right? Some people will even eat the skin of. I don't eat skin of fruits, especially fruits. I do not eat skin. And the reason for me not eating skins is very simple. There's a reason why fruits are available. Right? There's a reason why fruits are available. The fruits are available because the plant wants you to carry the seed. Right? So it creates fruit, very tasteful fruit, and you eat the fruit with the understanding that it's a bargain. You eat the fruit, you take the seed, and then you carry the seeds for the plant. So how does the plant make sure that after you eat the fruit, right, that you actually pass out the seed? It makes sure the skins are toxic. So eating the skin is actually eating toxin. And that's why when the toxin gets in your body, it will help with the constipation because it's toxin. So you say, well, that's okay, right? It's a bargain. What's the problem with that? Well, the problem is that your intestines are not made of stainless steel, right? They're permeable. And so scientists actually received a Nobel Prize for something that he discovered called leaky gut. Leaky gut, the toxins that you that you consume in the body actually leaks into your body, right? So I do not eat skin. I even slightly steam my tomatoes so I can peel off the skin. I just try not to eat it. Now grapes are a little different problem. They're too small for me but still, if they're big enough, I don't eat the skin. So what is it that you eat? What should you eat to actually helps with your constipation? Food that are fermented. Food that are fermented. Okay? Food that are fermented, because you have to understand that the whole digestion system is a fermentation process. And so people say, oh, I get it. It's a probiotic. Probiotic, right? Actually, you don't consume probiotic. When you go to Costco, you buy a big jar of probiotic pill. They're not probiotic. They can't be. Probiotic means bacteria. They can't be selling you bacteria, right? Just for the reason they can't sell you raw milk. So everything that you consume do not have bacteria in them. Even the miso that you buy in the store cannot have bacteria, right? They pasteurize them. Unless you go to Japan. In Japan, they don't pasteurize anything. They don't pasteurize the milk. They don't pasteurize the natto. They don't pasteurize the miso. So that's a different thing. Then you're actually consuming probiotic, food that are actually fermented. What you consume are prebiotic. They're the ingredients for you to allow your gut bacteria to promote. So that would help with your constipation. All right. So if you have constipation problem, you do this, that would help, right? Because it activates the energy in your large intestine. But then you say, well, I don't have constipation problem. I'm okay. Well, you still want to do this because you don't want that waste to stay in your stomach for too long, right? Because a lot of times we might go to the bathroom every day, but what we release might not be from yesterday. It might be from a week ago or 3 days ago. And so I still do this, even though I don't have constipation problem, because I don't want it to stay in my body. I want it to clear out as much as I can. All right. So the next thing we want to do is we want to come back to the thumb, and now we want to massage the thumb. That's the easiest thing to do, right? You all remember that, right? Okay, it's not so bad. Okay. All right. So massage your thumb, and then massage your thumb. And then I want you to form a pincher between your thumb and the index finger. And now when you see the thumb, you see like a small drumstick. The meaty part is a very important energy point. So I want you to massage that. And then I wanted to massage that. Okay. Now I want you to take your knuckle and then drill into this part, right? This is actually a very important energy point. And then over here, do that. We come to another energy point, which is right at the center of the palm. At the center of the palm, inside is yin, and then along the middle fingers is what we call the pericardium. That's the muscle and all the things that are outside the heart. So the Chinese actually separate the pericardium from the heart. The heart is closely associated with the mind. So right here is a very important energy point. So I want you to do the same thing. This is the healing hand. This is the only energy point that can give out energy. And do the same thing on the other side. And now put the hands together and kind of massage them, generating some heat as much as you can. Now it helps with you focus on it, okay? Bring the mind into the party, mind, body together. Now I want you to take the right hand, put that on top of the left hand, center the palm touching the back of the hand, and now squeeze the fingers and just kind of massage that. Now, what you find is that we're spending half an hour now on massaging the fingers. They're not only good for the fingers, they're actually good for the entire body. You feel warm now, right? A lot of warmth because you're actually improving the circulation. By massaging the extremities, it not only affects the extremity, it affects the whole energy system, all right? Okay, so now what we're ready to do is some finger exercise, simple finger exercise that activate the qi. And this exercise is actually made famous by someone who, a retired doctor, retired professor, who suffered a minor stroke, and then he was taught this technique, and he make it very popular. It reduced your chance of having a stroke, or if you had a stroke, it is actually a good should be part of your physical therapy. And all you have to do is sit up straight. I want you to focus on your shoulder, lift up your shoulder all the way up. Then I want you to lean back, open that shoulder, and then relax the shoulder. I want you to close your eye, focus on your hand, and I want you to bring the thumb and the index finger together and squeeze as hard as you can. Then the thumb and the middle finger and squeeze as hard as you can. and then the thumb and the ring finger, and squeeze as hard as you can. And finally to the small finger and squeeze as hard as you can. Then I want you to bring the thumb to the index finger, the middle of the index finger, and squeeze middle of the middle finger, and squeeze middle of the ring finger, and squeeze, and then middle of the small finger, and squeeze. I want you to put your hand down, and then now we're going to do the second exercise. The hand is, the fingers are very important to your neurological health, right? Our evolution starts with a finger, right? We're the first animal species that learn how to use a finger, break off a tree, use it as defensive weapon, walk down from the tree and start living in the cave. All that start with a finger, right? Different animal has different evolutions. The dog is very good at smell. The cats are very good with the eyesight, right? And people are very good with the fingers. And so by using the fingers and coordinating with our brain, it would slow down our neurological decay. Now, I want you to come back to the shoulder again. Always start with the body, forming the conduit between the heaven and the earth. And then I want you to open the shoulder, lean back, and then relax. I want you to focus on your right hand now. Bring up your right hand, which means that you're using your left brain. I want you to focus on the fingers and bring in the fingers one at a time. First the thumb, then two fingers, then the index, and now the small fingers. I want you to put down the right hand, bring up the left hand, using the right side of the thumb now. Thumb, two fingers, index, little fingers. Then I want you to bring up both fists, squeeze as hard as you can. Leave the right hand, and then open the fingers in the reverse order. Small fingers, index, two fingers, thumb. Right hand, left hand, small fingers, index, two fingers, thumb. And then stretch as hard as you can, and then say to yourself, I'm now ready for the second time. Focus on the right hand, thumb, two fingers, index, small fingers. Now the left hand, thumb, two fingers, index, small fingers. Squeeze as hard as you can. Open up the right hand, little fingers, index, two fingers, thumb. Left hand, little fingers, index, two fingers, thumb. And then stretch as hard as you can and say to yourself, I'm now ready for the very last time. Thumb, two fingers, index, little fingers. Thumb, index, two fingers, index, little fingers. Squeeze as hard as you can. Open up the right hand, little fingers, index, two fingers, thumb. Little fingers, index, two fingers, thumb. Stretch as hard as you can. Sit up straight, palm facing each other, fingers touching each other. Push as hard as you can. Bring up the elbow and then lower your hand and maintain the contact between the center of your palm. Feel the pain on your wrist. And then I want you to bring it up. Now straighten up your fingers. Now we're going to be tapping, which means that we are looking for vibration. Okay? All right. And now put the fingers together and stretch out your fingers. Focus on your fingers and then count as you go. We're going to tap 30 times. Get ready? Go. Now cross your fingers. Remember there are energy points in between your fingers. And sit up straight. We're going to tap that 30 times. Get ready? Go. Okay, now we're going to tap the inside of a palm. This one is the lung meridian. This one is the heart or the mind meridian. And so we're going to focus on this one first, right? So you feel the meaty part. This is the drumstick that I mentioned. It's a corresponding part. So you sit up straight, you put your hands together, forming a V, and then tap the muscle part. Okay, get ready, go. Now you're going to do the other side, again, forming a V facing down. Sit up straight, focus on your hand, get ready, go. Okay, now this is the heart. Sometimes it's called the mind. The two are related. And then this is the lung, right? Now, the yang side of that, the part is facing the sun is the small intestine and the large intestine. So I talk about why it would make sense that we relate the large intestine with the lung, right? One is the input of our nutrient and one is the release of a toxin. Now, it's interesting that the Chinese relate the small intestine with the mind, right? Now, I talk about how important it is to maintain probiotic health, right? Small intestine. And the one thing that you can really destroy your small intestine, your probiotic, is to eat food and consume food that have too much preservative. What does the preservative do? Well, preservative is a chemical that you add to your food to create an environment that is not suitable for bacteria. So if you consume that food, then you're creating an environment that is not suitable for bacteria, which means that you're destroying your small intestine, right, environment. So think about that, okay? So that's what happens when you eat outside too much, right? Now, eating outside in a restaurant to me is an entertainment. It's a social activity. I do that with my family. I do that with my friends, but it's not something that you do every day because the food that you consume, the food that you purchase from Costco and everywhere else is full of preservatives. So you got to think about that. Now, the scientists actually discovered the link between digestive health and Parkinson's disease. There you have it, okay? So this energy point here is the small intestine. It's right on the edge of the palm facing the sun. And so if you fold your hand, you see the line, it's just right outside. So now we're gonna put our palms flat, rope our fingers, and we're gonna tap that 30 times. Now, it turns out that this is yang, so it's energetic. And this one is actually connected to your spine. So you want to just sit up straight and then put your hands together like this 30 times. Okay, now we're going to go from the small intestine to the large intestine. So I talk about the large intestine starting at the fingertip. It's a very important energy point when it gets into the valley. So this is called the merging valley. So first we're going to tap that. So we're going to take the small intestine, put that on top of the large intestine energy point. We're going to tap that 30 times. Get ready, go. Okay, the other side. Okay, now we're going to do some acupressure, right? There are 365 energy points in the body. Every one of them is important. But if I have to pick one and two, it would be this one and this one. All right, now this one is called the merging valley. It's the large intestine. It has a lot of benefit. It's too much for me to try to mention here. So go to AI, ask for this energy point. And if you don't know how to find it, find the picture that shows the large intestine meridian, and we'll come down here and then find this one energy point. And then once you know the name or the number, then you ask the benefit. Now, to do acupressure, to do it right, you first open your hands, and it's right here. So first you identify the ridge. Then you take your thumb and you identify this line. You put the line on top of the ridge, and then you push down with your thumb. Make sure you're not using your fingernail. Then you take your right hand, you put that outside of the left, and you push down, and you feel kind of numb. Right? Now, there are many benefits. High blood pressure is one. Relieving pain, cramp is another. Now, do the same thing on the other side. Push down, put your left hand on side of the right hand and push down. Okay. Now, the reason why you have to put the hand and wrap around is because the energy point is not straight down. It's slightly towards the index finger. Okay. The other energy point is along the pericardium. You go from the wrist, you measure 3.3 fingers, and it's right here. Right. So this is very famous for the heart. Now, you wrap your fingers on the outside and you just push down. Same thing on the other side, push down. So if you do anything at all, and you just want to do, you want to prioritize. These are the two energies on the upper body. There's one more on the lower part of the body. I'll remind you when I get there. All right, now we're ready for our favorite part, called scraping. Now, someone knows this, all right, and they say, "Oh, that's guatsa." So first of all, let me understand what guatsa means. Guat means scrape, and all we do here is scrape. Now, then you say, "Well, what is sa?" Sa means sand. Now, there's a misunderstanding for hundreds of years that when you scrape, you have to scrape to a point where you see red marks on your skin, and that is wrong. So I do scraping. I don't do it all the way to actually create marks on my skin, right? And when you create marks on the skin, it's actually you scrape so hard that you're damaging your microvessel, right? So I don't want you to do that. So be careful, okay? So when people say, "Oh, you need to do that. You need to release the toxin." See, right? He points to these red spots. That's not toxin. That is just your micro vessel breaking down. So don't do that. All right, just scrape enough. You're not trying to hurt yourself. You're not trying to beat a body into submission. Now, scraping is very magical. I do it all at least once a day, especially right before I sleep. Right before I sleep, and it relieves the pain. Right, it relieves the pain because it relieves inflammation in your body. Okay, so we sometimes use the word longevity. Everybody talks about that longevity. How do I improve my health, my lifespan? Improving a lifespan has no meaning. I know lots of old people that spent last 15 years alive looking at the ceiling, waiting for people to come change the diapers. That's not what you want. What you want is to improve your health span. So then you say, what's the difference? Well, modern science, modern medical science has done a great job in improving our lifespan. I'll be celebrating my 70th birthday this year. When I was a child, people celebrate the 60th birthday because many people don't live that long, right? I remember right after the war, before I was born, the life expectation for Asia is like 35 years old. Now, 70 is the new 40, and I expect to live another 30 years. Health span is not the problem anymore. We have medicine for all of that. But what we don't have medicine is to reduce, or we don't have the concept of reducing inflammation. The difference between health span and lifespan is inflammation. So you want to do everything you can to reduce inflammation. And so when you cannot go to sleep at night because your carpal tunnel is acting, you don't take an Advil because Advil does not reduce inflammation. It just removes the pain, right? So I rather not take Advil, not because it's too expensive or not readily available, but because it only removes the symptom and not the problem. The problem is inflammation, chronic inflammation, right? And the way to reduce chronic inflammation is to unleash your self-healing. And your self-healing comes when you can maintain when you can maintain the harmony between your autonomous nervous system, that you're basically cycling back and forth freely between fight or flight and rest and digest. The problem we have these days, since electrification and then accelerated after internet, is that we outgrow our evolution. We only know how to be in fight or flight and not in rest and digest. So we're constantly pumping stress hormone, and to a point where we develop what is called cortisol resistance. We're no longer sensitive to our own natural steroids, so we have to take external steroid. Crazy world. Okay, so the problem is that I cannot do a double-blind experiment here. I cannot ask you to come back in 10 years and see how I haven't aged, because by that time it will be too late for you, right? So I'm hoping that you have faith in me and practice with me and see the change in your own body and your own mind and believe in that. All right? Okay, so now we're going to work on these meridians. There's 6 of them, remember? There's 6 of them, 3 on the inside, 3 on the outside. 3 in the inside, 3 in the outside, right? So we're going to take our tool, a scraping tool, and we're going to start now. In the past, I started at the elbow, but these days I start at the right above the elbow, 4 inches above, and start from here, especially those like my mom who's suffering from a digestive heart problem. It's actually good to start here, okay? Now all the way down to the elbow, all the way down to where we were doing acupressure before, or around where you wear your watch, and then to the what is that called? Wrist. Okay, now move up. Now, if you move all the way up, you see you're now at the bone. I want you to be the inside of the bone. This is the lung meridian starting at the elbow. Go all the way down to wrist and then back. Now I want you to scrape on the bone and then scrape on the outside. This is the large intestine. And then scrape in the center. And then scrape along the small fingers. And scrape in the back of the hand, the fingers, the thumb, especially if you have arthritis, back. And then along the small fingers. In the middle is just called the triple warmer. Outside the bone, on top of the bone, inside the bone. And then in the middle is this is the pericardium. And then finally along the small fingers, especially around here. Okay, so there's a section that is very good in helping you relieve your anxiety and help you go to sleep. All right, all the way back to the elbow. Okay, now, so try doing this before you go to sleep and see if you get a better night of sleep, right? Every once in a while when I'm busy, right? Sometimes on Tuesday night when I have class at night or Friday night when I have class night, by the time I finish with all the work that I need to do around the house, it's too late and I forget. And the body doesn't let you forget. And then when I don't scrape, I find myself waking up at like 1:30 in the morning and not knowing why. And then I said, I know why. I know why. Because my hands are, my whole body is uncomfortable because of carpal tunnel. Okay? All right, now go up a little bit. And then on the bone. And then on the outside. And in the middle. And then along the small fingers. Back of the hand. The fingers. Okay? And then around, right? Now, so one of my students had just actually yesterday flew back to Hong Kong, and so when you fly long distance, you're stuck on the plane anywhere from 13 to 15 hours. So I said, look, you have to make sure that you move your body and you do the right kind of exercise to relieve the channel, let the qi pass through freely so that your body doesn't inflame. It's very scary actually when you're elder flying, because I know many people actually have a stroke when they fly because they don't have enough circulation. So I told her, just work on the back of the hand where it's facing the sun, and just use your knuckle and just kind of scrape like that. That's all. And just scrape like that, right? Okay, so one question Bondi's asked, do I need a special stick for scraping? No. This happens to be a ruler that is in my family. It was part of the dowry from my mother-in-law. So he's 100-year-old. I'm very nostalgic with that. But you don't need this. I'll show you what you need. So tomorrow is Sunday. Sunday is my meditation class, in-person class. So I would bring that with me. And then I give it away as gift. So this is the cheapest way. You buy a ruler, 25 cents, wooden ruler, right? But it's a little bit too sharp, okay, unless you have sandpaper to round it off. So you take masking tape and just wrap it around. And it's very light, it's very bouncy. So this one is actually very good. Okay? All right. Or some smart student says, no, man, just take a jar and use the cap. No, but you're left with the jar with no cap. Okay? All right. Okay. All right. I'm a talker, okay? So I spend all my time talking instead of just exercising. But I don't know. Enough of you don't mind that, right? All right. So next one, we're going to be doing some finger work again. Back to the shoulder, lift up the shoulder, open the shoulder, lean back, and then relax. Now, point all your fingers in front, lock your elbow, roll up the four fingers, lock it with the thumb, wind up the four fingers, but don't let it go. Get ready. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay? Yeah. Lucila said, just use the knuckle. Yeah. The knuckle is good because you always have them. And then now, next one, you open your shoulder, you lean back, and then you relax. Now, you take your hand, you form what's called a lotus hand. You take the thumb and the middle fingers, and you stretch out the other three, and then you sit up straight. Try to push your hip forward and lean back. Now, take the lotus hand, put that in front. Open that shoulder. This energy point is called the gate to the cloud. And back of the hand is facing the camera. Get ready. 1, back, 2, back, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay? You notice that we're just now getting to the shoulder, and we are halfway through. Okay, now from the shoulder, we're going to work towards the top of the head, and there's a part that is creates a lot of stress in you, especially if you have high blood pressure. When you have high blood pressure, is your body telling you that you don't get enough oxygen into your brain. And so if you take high blood pressure medicine, it makes it worse. So you normally feel a lot of pain here. So one of the ways to relieve the pain is do some massage. So first you want to sit up straight like this, take your thumb and find those two cavities and just kind of massage that. This is called the pond of wind. Wind is something that you cannot see, cannot taste, cannot smell, you can only feel. So wind is the Chinese way of explaining nerve. And now I want you to push down with your thumb, lean back, hold it, and then release. Now take your right hand, 4 fingers, push down on the left side, grab this muscle on the left side of the neck, and then just kind of open it. And then do the same thing on the other side, push down and grab the right side and pull it to the left and relax. Now, these days, there are a lot of interest in enticing your body into rest and digest. So there's a lot of understanding of the vagus nerve. The vagus nerve starts at the bottom of the ear. You take the right hand, you just kind of push that. Now, what's interesting is that the Chinese knows this for thousands of years. This energy point here is actually called the nerve, how do I explain that? It's like the wind hiding behind the feather. Okay, so this is what's blocking your parasympathetic. So now I want you to massage across. And then same thing, lift up your right ear, massage the origin of the beginning of the vagus nerve, and then just massage across. Massage across. Now sit up straight, fold down your left ear, massage on the top, and then just kind of come down. Same thing on the other side, and just come down. Now come back and massage the corner, and then go towards this energy point, stop in the middle. There's a cavity there right below the bone, and just kind of massage. Now this is the point where you want to massage before you go to sleep. You feel the stress there, right? Now you come back and just kind of squeeze the neck, and then middle, squeeze, and then right here you squeeze. Now this area is actually very important. You actually want to keep this area warm, right? So, but most of us now like to wear closer to open back, so that's a problem. All right. Now you take your right hand, you use this part right here, massage and massage. Okay. Now we're going to learn to scrape on the left side of the neck. So look straight ahead, turn your head to the right, look down, and then scrape. Turn your head to the front and look up and scrape. And now massage the shoulder, the cavity. There's another one in the back. There's one on the side. There's one on the head. And then there's one in here. So when we massage, this is now called fascia massage. We're not massaging the muscle. We're actually massaging these cavities. Okay. Now let's do on the right side. Look straight ahead. Turn your head to the left and then look down. Scrape here. Turn your head to the front. Look up. Scrape here. And then massage, 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 and then massage, and then massage right here. Okay? All right? Good. All right. So now to the face. All right? So first, we come back to the healing hand. We put that together. Now we form empty hand. So make sure you have a pocket. Put that on your left eye. Take the other hand, put that on your right eye. Look, sit up straight, open your eyes. You see light, move around until you see only darkness, okay? Now come back. Now, don't press on the light bulb, okay? Form that cavity. What you're generating is infrared energy, and it needs space to radiate, okay? Now put it on your eye, open your eye. Oh, you said, I don't feel anything. That's okay. Your eye is not adjusted to the infrared yet. Now, second time you feel heat. All right, now one more time. Okay, now massage the face, massage the side of the face, put the center of your palm on your temple, and then come back to between your eyebrow, massage, and then go up until you get to this point. Come back, massage on top of your eyebrow. Right? Everyone that I point out the place you feel stress, and then massage the beginning of the eyebrow. Massage your forehead. Massage the top of the head, the back of the head, the big brain to the small brain. Massage above your ear. Come back. Massage on the side of your nose. Massage right between your nose and your lip. And then massage your neck. Okay, now we're going to massage the eyes. So you take your index finger, you put that in the beginning, you sit up straight, you push down, doing acupressure. Then you put your fingers in between and you massage your eyebrow. There's 3 energy points there. And you also like squeezing the toothpaste because there's some oil tube there, right? And then you take your thumb and massage below. And you take your thumb and you massage below. Okay, all right. So we don't have that much time, so I got to skip some. We're going to massage the ear. So put that on top and massage. In the middle, massage. Down below, massage. And massage the tip. Massage the edge. Massage your ear loop. And then put your thumb behind the ear loop. Take your index finger, put that outside. And then just kind of massage. And then massage up and down. And then massage the back. Massage the back. All right. Okay, so quickly we're going to do just focus. We're going to focus just on the 4 longevity cavity, right? They're the closest to your internal organs. And so the first one is in the armpit, right? Now the armpit is part of the heart meridian. And this muscle is actually very important. So when we do Yi Jin Jing, you will notice that one of the form is to make sure that we stretch this part. All right. So first we're going to take the elbow. Put that on top of the head. Sit up straight, looking straight ahead. Pinch the upper part of the ear. And then turn your head to the right. Bring up your right hand. Empty hand. Put that on your left armpit. Listen with the left ear. Get ready? Go. Continue. Now do the other side. Take the right elbow, put that on top of your head, sit up straight, pinch the left upper part of your left ear, turn your head to the left, bring up your empty hand, put that on your right side, listen with the right ear. Get ready, go. Continue. Okay, now that's the next one. Next longevity cavity is at the elbow. 3 energy lines. So you lock your elbow, you take your right hand, you form empty hand, you put the fingers on top and the palm on the side, you lift up your hand, you listen with the left ear. Get ready, go. Continue. And now do the other side. Left hand, right ear. Get ready, go. Continue. Okay, now there's one more exercise I want you to do at the bottom of the feet, and that is important before we get down on the floor. Okay. Now, I want you to look at the bottom of your left foot. Okay, I want you to look at the bottom of your left foot, and I want you to identify the arch. Then I want you to take the knuckle and just scrape along the arch. The arch is actually very important. It's where the kidney meridian, which is the water element, and the splint element, which is the earth element. So the water is the precursor of life, and the soil is the cradle of life. So that is important. Just scrape that. Okay, now we want to look at the bottom of feet. Okay, look at the bottom of feet. Okay, bottom of feet. We want to massage that using this part. Okay, now we want to take the toe, bend it back, form empty hand. We're going to tap that 30 times. We call this mixing the water and fire. This is fire, this is water. Get ready? Go. Continue. Okay, now this technique is invented by a traditional Chinese medicine doctor back in the Tang Dynasty, and it was written down when he was 120 years old. This is all historical, and this is a technique that he felt that was important. Okay, now on the right side, scrape the arch again. And then massage this energy point called the gushing spring. And then bend the toes backward, form empty hand. And then 30 times. Get ready? Go. Continue. Okay. Now, you can imagine why it's called mixing in the water and fire, and why that is important for your health, right? Because like, imagine that you're growing vegetable in your yard, and you want to make sure that the fire, which is above, and the water, which is below, are actually forming a harmony. That's how you grow in the middle. The middle is your soil and your vegetation. Right? So you can see how that is important. The other one that's important is that there's an indication on whether or not your health is good, whether or not you have saliva. Now, the saliva doesn't come from the outside. You can drink as much as water you can
you want, there's no saliva. Saliva comes from the inside of your tongue. The saliva gland is inside your tongue and is controlled only by your brain. And the only way that you can have saliva is when you're in rest and digest mode. So mixing the water and fire allows the water element from your kidney to come up. The fire is in your heart. Mixing the water and fire means that you allow the fire to go down. So having saliva, and you notice that every day, every time you see me, for an hour and a half, I'm nonstop talking, and yet I'm swallowing, right? The next thing that happens is that your feet is warm, and that's a good indication of health as well. And it actually comes when we meditate. So later on when we meditate, you will find that all of a sudden you're self-hydrating, and then also you feel warm in your body, even though you're not covered by blankets. So those are the two indicators. So mixing a water fire has that meaning. All right, so let's quickly do the other two longevity cavity. One is behind the knee. So put 4 fingers behind the knees, loosen up your knee, look straight ahead, get ready, go. Continue. Okay, all right, the next one is right here. So this is important. This is the bottleneck for all the yin energy to come up, the kidney, the splint, and the liver. But it's also the part that is closest to your reproduction organ. And you might say, well, you know, I'm to an age now where they have expired. Not true. See, this is the problem, that we think that our organs expire because we don't need them anymore. That's not true. Our reproduction organ is a source of life. It's a source of life even when you're aging. So this is important, right? So put that, massage, and then put your hands, form a fist, and just fit it inside this area. There's nothing there except that the bottleneck. Get ready? Go. Okay, this is so important that I recommend that when you go to sleep, you relax, you stretch out your body, and then you massage. Just massage. You don't need to do anything else. And then you go to sleep. It is that important, all right? It's the source of life. Okay, now we're going to do the Yi Jin Jing. The Yi Jin Jing, the purpose of Yi Jin Jing is unleash your self-healing power. This is what happens to the abbot when he or she lock herself into for meditation inside a room. So first, understanding that Qi is the energy between heaven and earth. So first, we're going to form a contact using a gushing spring. Then we're going to rotate our toes inward, loosening up a knee, activate the calf, which is the second heart. It allows the energy to rise. Then we're going to open up our shoulder, aligning the well with the source of spring. Then we're going to bring back the forehead, tuck in the chin, forming the one pillar supporting the sky. Now we're going to use the only energy point that can actually put out energy, healing energy, and we're going to face the earth. We're going to open up our shoulder. Now we're going to bring our mind to the center of our palm, and when I say go, you focus on your breath, you relax, you know that you're breathing in, you know that you're breathing out. And then you, right at the time when you finish breathing out, you relax, you focus on the center of your palm and you push, okay? Try that, huh? It's not just physical, it's actually mental. Now get ready, go. Now back to the breath. That was energetic. Energetic is yang. Yang means you're outside the cave. Outside the cave means you're in danger. When you're in danger, the body releases stress hormone. Stress hormone is to reduce inflammation. But now you not need to come back to the cave. When you're back in the cave, you rest and digest. You turn off all your stress hormone. You're actually maintaining your sensitivity to the stress hormone, creating that balance. Okay, very important, huh? When you come back, focus on your breath. It's equally important to the energetic. Now, second part, second time, go. Back to the breath. Feel the inside your mouth. If you need to, put the tip of the tongue behind your teeth where the teeth meets the roof of your mouth. Then it activates the salivary gland. One last time. Ready? Go. Back to the breath. Make sure you're not looking down. If you look down, the shock wave cannot go to the top of your head. Now the second one activates the large intestine meridian. You take your thumb, you point it to the hip, you bring up your hand, you point it to the hip, you roll up the four fingers, and then you imagine someone had hang 2 buckets of water on your thumb, and you lift up those 2 buckets of water, activating your large intestine meridian, helping you removing toxins in your body. And then you relax without lowering your hand. Focus on your breath. Feel the inside of your mouth. Second time. And then relax again. One last time. And then lower your hand this time, completely relax. Now, the next one is called the beginner's mind. This is what the babies do. Inside the mother's womb, they put the thumb around, they roll up the 4 fingers, and then they squeeze, activating the yang energy. And then they relax, focusing on the breath. Second time, and then relax. One last time, and then lower the hand, completely relax. After 2 breaths, put your fists together in front of your belly button. Take a deep breath as you raise your fist to the nose, and then relax. Now, there's a set of energy lines in your back, very complicated, named after the bladder. It's yang energy. So again, it's to unleash your self-healing power by bringing your elbows together, focusing on your back, and stretch your back, and then relax. So you've ever seen people doing cupping, right? The professional athletes does that now. That is for that reason. Second time, stretch your back, and then relax. One last time, stretch your back, and then relax. Now the next one is very cardio. It's called fists above the head. So you raise your fist above the head, you open your shoulder, you open your fist, then you roll your fingers 1 joint, 2 joint, you lock up your thumb, and you just squeeze, fighting against your heart. You're actually increasing blood pressure right now, and then relax. After 2 breaths, open your shoulder and squeeze again, and then relax. One last time, squeeze, and then relax. Now, the next one is called stabbing the shoulder. The shoulder, this well on the shoulder, this energy point is part of the gallbladder. Gallbladder is in the back. We massage those 2 cavities. The gallbladder is a yang energy line. It has to do with nerve, right? Remember that? So you stab your shoulder by opening your shoulder, look straight ahead, grab 2 daggers, point the daggers on your shoulder, open your shoulder, and stab. You feel the tightness in the back of your neck. And then relax. After 2 breaths, open, stab. and then relax. One last time, open your shoulders, stab, and then relax. Now the next one's called the cross. You're not punching, you're stretching the triple warmer. The triple warmer is everything, okay? All right, now you feel the trees, you're gonna just push it, all right? Now, first we rotate the wrist, energizing all those energy points. Then you roll your fist, you take a deep breath, you hold your breath, and you push. Relax. The word is bang, means avalanche. You push it so hard, you cause an avalanche. Second time, raise your hand, wrist, take a deep breath, hold your breath, and you push. After 2 breaths, one last time, wrist, relax. Now, this is so important that we do it twice. This is called the front hanging. Lock your elbow as if you're hanging close on your arm. Looking straight ahead, you see a tree, wrist. Take a deep breath, hold your breath, and push. Relax. Second time. Relax. One last time. Relax. Now come to the muscle part. So you notice that we are combining 3 important elements of the exercise that is important for aging: stretching, cardio, and muscle, particularly this muscle. So we grab a bar, we look at the bar, we follow as we pull ourselves up, and then relax. Second time. Work on those muscles. You don't use it, you lose it. Relax. One last time. And then relax. Okay, we continue. This one is, of course, opening the bow and arrow. Grab the bow, one on each side, and using this muscle, and just open it. And then relax. Okay, open it, and then relax. One last time. And then relax. Now, we swallow. Collect all your saliva, and then swallow all the way down to here. Swallow. Okay? Now, so I mentioned this exercise combines stretching, cardio, and muscle. There's one more, which is overlooked in the West. It's called balance. Balance is very important for graceful aging. So this one actually starts from the bottom of your feet, goes up the spine, all the way to the top of the head. So first, we're going to put the hands together. We're going to straighten up our back. Make sure we don't lock a knee. Loosen up a knee. Back of the hand touching. Look, and then just go down. Okay, make sure that the knees are not locked, okay? And then straighten up your elbow. Looking straight down. Back of the hand touching. One time. Relax. Second time. Relax. One last time. Relax. Now, flip your hand. Take a deep breath. Take a deep breath out. Take a deep breath in. Lower your knee. Look straight ahead. You don't have to jump very far. Just the big rock in the front, and you just go push. And then take a deep breath in. Take a deep breath out. We're ready to meditate. Now, this is very important. So a lot of times I ran over time, and so people will leave at this point. So make sure you don't leave just yet, because you need to restore that harmony between your fight or flight and your rest and digest, because we're just finishing a very energetic exercise. You can feel that there's energy bouncing all around your body. These are the chi. And what we want to do now is collect all that energy into our lower abdomen. The Chinese call that Dan Tan. Tan means feel, Dan means fire, the feel of life. Not only that, we're going to sort out the yang energy from the yin energy and vice versa. And it's very simple, but we need to kind of make sure that we're sitting properly. So I did all the things already, which is to stretch your spine, lean back, relax, lift up your shoulder, open your shoulder and relax. Lean back, your forehead, tuck in your chin. And then now we get to the two parts that I haven't mentioned, which is you close your eye, but you think of your eyes as the wind shade. You just lower in your shade. So you can actually see some light coming through your eyelashes. And the next thing you want to do, you want to take the tip of the tongue. Now, you feel the back of your teeth. I'm going to go a little bit more detail. You feel the inside of your teeth. You go up and you feel where the teeth meets the roof of your mouth. And just right there, there's a little indentation. That indentation is right behind here. So there's an energy point here called I'll call it the middle of being. Right behind, there's an energy point here called the pond of the sky. And you don't want to push it. You just want to, like, okay, so this is your teeth. This is your teeth. This is the roof of your mouth. And the indentation's right here. And so you just kind of take your tongue and just kind of rest it like that. Now, if you don't know how to do it, next time when you have a baby, just take a peek. Take a peek. The baby do exactly that. They lower the eye shade. You can almost see, oh, they're pretending to sleep. They're not pretending to sleep. This is the way they sleep. They sleep with the eyes totally relaxed. So you think that they're pretending, they're not. When they shut the eye, they're pretending. The next thing you do, next time, they will open the mouth and you see the tongue actually pushing on the roof of the mouth. That's exactly what we do when we're inside the mother's womb. We want to just return to that, because the only time in our life where everything is in harmony, right? We want to go back to that. Go back to that. All right, so now we're going to focus on the breath. And first, we're going to just focus on the belly button. And when we breathe in, I want you to relax the stomach as if you're taking the belly button, push it forward. And when you breathe out, I want you to close the stomach, collapse the stomach as if you're bringing the belly button back. Now, what happens is that when you breathe in, you open your stomach, you lower your diaphragm. And when you breathe out, you bring in your stomach and you're raising the diaphragm. When you lower your diaphragm, you actually enter into fight or flight. Your heart rate actually goes up. And when you collapse your stomach and you're raising your diaphragm, you enter into rest and digest, and your heart rate goes down. This is a practice to actually distinguish the two by creating the harmony. And the measurement is called HRV, heart rate variability. And scientists have proven that having a measurable HRV is a sign that you are eliminating chronic inflammation to the point that it can actually reverse dementia. So let's do that. Collecting the qi into your dantian and separating the yang energy from the yin energy, going back and forth between fight or flight and rest and digest, thereby restoring your self-healing power. When you enter into a fight or flight, you're releasing stress hormone, particularly cortisol, which is a form of natural steroid, to eliminate chronic inflammation. And when you enter into rest and digest, you're back into the cave, the comfort of your home, and you shut down all your stress hormone, thereby maintaining the sensitivity to your healing agent. There is such thing as having too much of a good thing. When your body is filled with cortisol all the time, it's no longer sensitive to it. Just like when someone comes to your door and keep ringing your doorbell, after a while you ignore them. Now we're going to spend the next 5 minutes by bringing our yang energy up our spine. That's called the guardian vessel. That's where all the yang energy comes up to the top of the head where they're collected, and then bring it back down. So now we're going to let go of the belly button and just focus on the breath. And feel that when you breathe in, your stomach opens slightly, and feel that when you breathe out, your stomach collapses slightly. Maintain that feeling. Focus now on the bottom of your spine. As you breathe in, I want you to walk up the spine, one step at a time, towards the top of the head. Stretch your spine as you go up. And when you feel that you're breathing out, I want you to come from the top of the head to your forehead, to your nose, crossing your tongue, and back to the belly button. And I want you to, as you come down, I want you to lean back and then relax. When you feel that you're breathing in, come up from the back of your spine, your spine, stretch your spine. And when you breathe out, come back from the front, back to your belly button. Let's sit for 5 minutes, okay? And then we'll be end the class. Everything that we do here is recorded. Plus, I do a lot of writings and a lot of other stuff. So if you just go to Denny, DENNYKMIU.com, you will find the landing page where I list all my collateral. Okay? So just catch up on that. This is just a once a week boot camp where we meet together, we give each other encouragement, we nurture each other, and we maintain a confidence in ourselves. Whatever it is that you're feeling, I want you to know that you're not alone. That's why you need to join a group. The group is called Mindfulness Fellowship. It's a place where all fellow travelers meets, so that we know that we're not alone. We might have slightly different directions, but at least we meet now, and we know that we're here together. Okay. So I mentioned that I'll be celebrating my 70th birthday this year. I came to the United States in 1971 when I was 15 years old. So I've been in this country now for 55 years, 50 of them as a naturalized American citizen. So when I look at what's going on here, I can imagine feel that we're in a very dark time. But I actually remember a lot of dark time in the short history that I'm here. Now, I'm obviously too young to remember McCarthy era, the time when we, for some reason or another, developed a hatred for communism, and particularly towards people who practice communism, the Chinese. And this is coming from a long history of discrimination, systematic discrimination towards Chinese immigrants. That's not what I want to talk about. I just want to talk about my own experience in these dark times. When I go back to Macau, someone mentioned, are you from Macau? Yes, I am. I was born in Macau, and I remember in the late 60s, when we were applying to come to the United States as a legal immigrant, because it was my right, it was the right of my aunt who were a naturalized citizen, much as I am now. It was her right to be united with her family. So she applied for her sibling, my father, and we waited our turn. And while we were waiting, we were told specifically not to walk on one side of that particular street. And when I go back, I remember that side of the street. And I remember the place where the store used to be. And that was a store that was owned by the communists selling goods that are exported from China. And we were told not to walk on that side of the street because everybody know that spies were watching. And if you will walk on that side of the street, they would associate you with the spies and you can never come to America. I remember that. I remember after I've been here 5 years and I was eligible to become a citizen, I was already in college, actually getting ready for graduate school. And I went in front of the inspector and he asked a bunch of questions. He asked if my parents were born in China. And I said, yes. And they only come to Macau after, and I used the wrong word, liberation. And his face turned blue and he says, what liberation? And he was about to kick me out because he thought that I was a communist sympathizer. That was a very dark time. I'm not saying that communism is good. I'm just saying that it was an excuse for us to exclude people that are different from us, even if they're just people who happen to live under the system wanting to escape from tyranny. It was a very dark time when I came to the United States in the early 70s, when we started to have a lot of gays and lesbians living in San Francisco. It turns out being gays and lesbians are not actually illegal, but the landowner has the right to kick you out if they felt that you are practicing homosexual behavior. So there was a very famous sheriff and who was taking the hard line. And we hear about all these raids into people's home, into their bedroom, to look for things that they could identify as homosexual behavior. And with no recourse whatsoever, kick them out of the homeroom. I remember that. I remember lots of very, very dark time. And we are in that dark time now. However, unlike a year and a half ago, when I first talked about this, I do see the light at the end of the tunnel. Maybe we'll have to take a couple more turns, but I am seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. I believe in the goodness of our people who are now proud to be called an American. It's an identity of our culture, of our spirit, and I'm very proud to be part of that. And I believe in it. So I want you to think that you're not alone. With all your despair, with all your sadness, you are not alone. You are surrounded by people who are more than half of our populations who disagree, who believe that the way out is not by division and by hatred. Why do I know that? Well, there's a chance that I might go back to work in the prison again. Our Sunday class is about working with people who've been released from incarceration. But there's a chance that I might join a team and go back to the prison and work there. We'll see. I was doing that before the pandemic, and when the pandemic came, everything changes, and I switched my effort into online, and I've been doing that. Most of you are with me from the very beginning, but now I have a chance to maybe go back. When I first worked in the prison, particularly the one that's closest to my home, San Quentin, I realized that they have about 800 inmates separating into three groups. Those who are there waiting for the death sentence, those who are there for a long time, sentenced to 25 to life, and those are what they call receptionists. The reception, they're just passing through. 800 of them, maybe 900, not more than that. There were 1,000 people sign up for being volunteers, more than the inmates. Now, of course, they won't all show up at the same time, but they show up enough on Sunday that we wait in line to get in. That is the America I see. That people are willing to serve, people are willing to give, people who believe in compassion and love and kindness, people who are willing not to judge. Not to judge. We're not there to judge. I'm not here to judge. You shouldn't judge. We have too much to be grateful for. With that, I bless all of you with good health, with happiness, and with peace. Namaste. Okay? All right. See you all next week. Okay, 星期一見。多謝你哋支持。
多謝 Dennis 師兄。
Okay, 拜拜。星期一見。拜拜。